Hi everybody, it's brief instructional video on how to do the Romeo and Juliet character chart. So as we open up the character chart, what you are going to see is it's going to touch mostly only on part one of the assignment. So as you're looking, or not part one, act one. So as you're looking through, there's going to be two sections, and technically kind of three. So that you have all this section here on the left, you have this section, and then you have this section down here. Okay. So some important things to remember about this assignment is there's a link here. So if you hit Control and then click on it with your mouse, it's going to open up a character chart. And so what happens when it opens the character chart is it gives you some different traits. So if you need to use that, absolutely feel free to use that link to help you with your assignment. So let me go back here. All right, so for part one, what you're doing is you are only looking at Romeo and Juliet, okay? So for part one, you are going to find a quote. So you can either type the quote or you can copy and paste. And you are going to type in a quote that shows characterization. So you're going to explain the quote and use a specific character traits to tell me something about the character. So for example, Romeo, he could be romantic. Juliet could be shy. I mean, whatever it is that you want to put in there. But you're going to look for a quote within the play that supports that. Okay, so that's going to tell me about the character. And as you're reading, if you have not read Romeo and Juliet, you're really going to see a lot of characteristics in both that stand out, and it should be pretty easy to find some things. So just kind of know that there's a lot in there that you're going to be able to locate. So the next box, you're going to be looking for a second quote that shows characterization. So it's something that could be completely different. And then you're going to explain the quote and then use a specific character trait to say what type of trait that is. So whether, again, if they're like romantic, shy, label that specific trait in there. So the third part of this is what does his or her tone seem to be when she is first introduced on stage? So, and then you need to explain your observation. So remember, this is not when they meet each other. This is when they are very first introduced on the stage, right? When the very first time we see them. So what is the tone? What is each of their tones when we first meet them? So what is happening when they're first introduced, not to each other, but in the play, obviously. So what is happening when we first meet Romeo, and what is happening when we first meet Juliet? And then basically you're going to give a little bit of context to the conversation that takes place between Romeo and Benvolio, and then Juliet with her nurse. So in the beginning, you're going to see Romeo with Benvolio, and then you're going to see Juliet with the nurse. Okay. And her mom. Sorry, I missed that. And then at the end, what is your opinion of both of them by the end of Act One? So, what do you think about them? And that's basically just your opinion. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you think that they're like fun? Do you think that they're sad? Do you think they're conceited? I mean, whatever you want to say. So, just give me your honest opinion of what you think of each of them. So, in part two, we're looking at foil characters and reflection. So we'll talk about foil characters before you get to this, and you'll obviously know what that is. But just a real brief definition. A foil character is a character that shows qualities that are in contrast with the qualities of another character. So, and they basically, what they do is they highlight the traits of the other character. So in Romeo and Juliet, Benvolio and Tybalt act as foil characters. So, and they're either the characters you're going to love or you're going to hate them. So in this section, Use the character traits and be specific and explain your observation and cite at least one quote from the play to support your description. So basically, you're going to look back on that chart and you're going to look and find a character trait for Benvolio, and then you're going to look for a trait for Tybalt. And then once you put the trait down, you are going to have a quote that supports whatever that character trait is. Okay. So shouldn't be too difficult for that. So the last part is just a reflection, and it's pretty much anything you want to say about Romeo and Juliet so far. So some of the suggestions are, what are your initial feelings about the characters? Who do you like? Who do you dislike? Who do you despise? Who gets on your nerves? Use the questions to guide your writing. Basically, I want you just to let me know what you think about the characters so far. And of course, just use proper grammar and all of that stuff. And anything related to a character is free game. So you can definitely say anything you want to down here, and as long as you're referring to characters, you will get full credit for that section. Okay, so this is the character chart, and this is what we're looking at. So if you have questions about this, please let me know, and I would be happy to answer them.